This is a guide to Wraith King as a safe lane ball and out of control carry. Wraith King is actually one of my favorite heroes because his voice is badass, his general playstyle is badass. Basically, you just live the thug life. That's sort of all I have to say. It's the end of the guide. Bye. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, Wraith King, strong carry hero. Obviously melee strength carry, so suffers from kiting. Out of the meta right now because a lot of mana burning heroes are in the meta. Both Anti-Mage and Phantom Lancer are both very meta right now, and mana burn sort of just wrecks Wraith King. But he's still fun, he's still playable. His stun is probably one of the better stuns of the game. Let's jump into it. Starting items. Dangos, clearly, for regen. Stout Shield, normally want to get melee carry, obviously. Ring of Protection is decent, because your starting armor isn't the best. I mean, 2.5 is okay, considering you're a strength hero, but little extra armor never hurt anybody. Clarity's good, because using Wraith Fire Blast is like half your mana pool. Let me see. Salve is good if you know you're going to be against a really hard lane. Branch, obviously, to just fill in slots. And Mango is actually really good on Wraith King because the cooldown on level 1 Wraith Fire Blast is really low. So what you can do, you can like Wraith Fire Blast, and you won't have enough mana for a second one at level 1 unless you Mango, and then you can have 2 stuns at level 1, which can often turn into a kill. But past that, early game, Magic Stick is your friend. Because if you use any kind of spells at all, that you can have a clutch stick play to, say, use your ult, or use your stun again, anything. Boots of Speed, obviously. Quelling Blade, you don't really, that's not really an early game item, you want to get that when you, like, leave the lane, but whatever. Quelling Blade, because Wraith King without a Quelling Blade actually just farms like kittens. Basilius, if you bought the Ring of Protection, because that gives you good mana regen in lane, as well as some additional damage. Boots of choice on Wraith King are almost always treads. Occasionally you see some, like, phase boot builds for, like, anti-kiting, but generally you want treads because treads help your mana issues via tread swapping. Attack speed is good due to your natural crit. And, yeah. Other core items, TP, obviously, Magic Wand, similar to Magic Stick, only better, obviously. Blink Dagger. This is where things get kind of weird. They're sort of similar to Lifestealer. There are 2 schools of thought on Blink Dagger. On, well, not really just Blink Dagger, but like core item choices on Wraith King. Some people like Armlet a lot. Now, Armlet gives you a lot of damage, but it doesn't help with your kiting problem. Blink helps with your kiting problem, helps you farm, but doesn't give you any damage. Personally, I like Blink because it actually speeds up your farm a lot more and allows you to actually be able to kill people if they're not idiots. But, you know, Armlet's decent too. Situational items. BKB, obviously, so you can just man mode people. BKB, AC, your armor is kind of crap. Attack speed is really good on Wraith King. And the Binus armor synergizes well with your high physical damage. Armlet we talked about. Abyssal Blade gives you even more lockdown on top of your already fairly reliable stun. Basher is good because you tend to build a whole lot of attack speed items. And Abyssal Blade gives good damage. Heart is good because it makes you, like, literally unkillable. Like, because you can't kill, like, Heart Wraith King twice unless, like, some shit's happening. Halberd, good anti-carry item, also gives you evasion as a strength hero. MKB is good to counter evasion and natural butterfly and or halberd and or solar crest carriers. Radiance Radiance is kind of weird. Radiance sort of makes it... Why you buy Radiance on Wraith King is... It's not like an illusion hero, like Naga or Spectre, where you want to spread the illusion. Radiance basically makes it so, with your 2 lives, generally, the strategy against Wraith King is to just sort of ignore him before he does enough damage, and just kill his team. Radiance makes it so, even if you're not actually right-clicking people, you're still dealing damage in the fight, so they can't afford to ignore you. That's why you buy Radiance on Wraith King. Now, it's obviously really expensive. Wraith King's not the greatest farmer in the game. But it's still decent. Some people like going like Treads, Blink, Radiance, which I think's a decent build. But it's okay. Sanjin Yasha, good on kited strength carries like Wraith King, because of the chasing potential, and also the Sanj is nice. Mjolnir, attack speed obviously. The Maelstrom helps you farm, which is obviously a really good thing. And the shield on yourself, when you're just kind of man-moding people, which is what you tend to do as Wraith King, is helpful. Mantis style is good because your stat gain is actually pretty decent. I mean, like, you got like 2.9 strength gain, and you tend to build a lot of, not necessarily just plus damage items, but sort of mixed items. And your Mantillusions are actually quite strong. It's also good for dispelling... I don't know, you don't really worry about silences, but I guess it's nice. Scotty helps with your kiting problem, as well as gives you good stats. Satanic, for just man-moding people. It gives you like 3 lives in a fight, which is just like cray, you know? Butterfly's good because it gives you attack speed, as well as evasion. And Sheepstick, I'm not actually sure why Sheepstick's on this list. I guess it gives you addition of disable, good mana pool. I'm actually just going to get rid of that. I have no idea why Sheepstick's on there. Now, we get to the balling out of control items. Because you're Wraith King, you ball out of control. That's literally one of his voice lines. Midas is actually sort of not really a balling out of control item. Midas is actually really good on Wraith King because you want to get to level 16 as fast as possible so that you can get your 60-second cooldown on Reincarnate. And Midas gives you levels. Also, attack speed's good, and gold is good. Clearly. Rapier. Obviously, 3 R's. Refresher, Rapier, and Wraith. It's like the name of the guide, dude. Rapier's good because obviously you have 2 lives, so you won't drop it on the second life. Also, he has a badass voice line for it, so, I mean, you can't go wrong there. Refresher. That gives you 3 lives, which is good, but generally it's not that great. More of a meme item, but it's okay. Desolator is good on Wraith King, similar to why it's good on Lifestealer, because you have built-in lifesteal, so you can afford to go Deso. Also, you just like shit out physical damage, which obviously Deso amplifies. Battle Fury is good if you intend to just drown your enemies in gold, because Wraith King actually with a Battle Fury farms pretty decently. You have a built-in crit, you have built-in lifesteal, like you can just hit the jungle, just get fat, you know? Skill build. Generally you want to max stun first, because you want the damage to go up. It scales okay, I guess. 80 to 300 is decent. So yeah. Generally want to max your stun first. That's sort of your bread and butter skill in the early game. You want to get crit levels early on instead of lifesteal, because the lifesteal aura goes on to your creeps and will end up pushing the lane, actually. Although I suppose you could level it if you intend on pushing the lane. But, you know, whatever. Generally you want to get crit, although sometimes you can grab just stat points there. But I like getting the crit levels. Reincarnate, obviously, at 6. You get 1 point in lifesteal at level 8 because there is a large level gap between levels 8 and 9 compared to levels 7 and 8. The XP between 8 and 9 versus 7 and 8 is actually gigantic. So you want to have at least 1 point in the lifesteal before that. Also, level 8 is generally when you're going to start being able to like farm the jungle and stuff, and you want to have lifesteal to farm the jungle. After that, finish maxing out your crit, so you can just crit people. Get your second level of your ulti at 11. Finish maxing out lifesteal. Get ulti at 16, and then stats. Getting level 16 fast is kind of critical on Wraith King, because level 16 is sort of your turning point. You want to like hit 16, and then you want to try to win the game. Generally, that's kind of your win condition. Although you can go late with Wraith King, although he's not the best late game hero in the game. Wraith King is strong versus... I can't really think of any like super specific groups that he's strong versus, but I don't know, he's strong versus not his counters, I guess you could say. His counters include mana burners, such as PL, Anti-Mage, Lion, anybody you can just drain his mana so he can't ult. Anything that can kite him, like, shit, I don't know, Lifestealer, anything like that. Huskar is good versus Wraith King. Yeah, and then he's strong versus pretty much anything that can't kite him that's not a mana burner, basically. He's also kind of weak versus high burst damage, because he can get bursted through his 2 lives easily. Yeah, that's Wraith King. He's pretty much the most baller hero. That's it. Their King's balling out of control, man. Like, quite literally. You literally ball out of control. Bye. This is a guide to Lifestealer in the safe lane carrier role, where he should be played pretty much always. Lifestealer's kind of out of the meta right now. He took a fall from grace after sort of TI3 era nerfs, the good old Luna Gyro Lifestealer. That was after a nerf to the cast range on level 1 open wounds, which severely nerfed his early laning presence, but whatever. Kind of out of the meta now. Decent versus the high magic damage, but still retains his weakness of weak to physical damage, as well as kind of low farming speed. Starting items. Tango, Stout Shield, Ring of Protection, fairly standard on melee carries. Sometimes you don't get the Ring of Protection, but I personally like it because you have like 1 base armor. And that sort of tends to be problematic. Get a Salve, hard lane, if you're in a hard lane, and then 2 branches to just assist in your last hitting, and eventually build into a magic wand. Probably going to want to turn the Ring of Protection into a Ring of Basilius at your earliest convenience, due to Lifestealer's low mana pool at the beginning. So the regen really goes a long way, and allows you to kind of spam your spells. Boots should be a priority, because you want to be super speedy, and just be able to get in range for open wounds during the lane. Also, you know, it's boots. Magic Stick, good for fighting in lane, and for just general survivability. Orb Venom can be picked up, because it stacks with your slow, and it gives you, what is that, like a 12% plus whatever open wounds is, which is like 60, I think? 70? Wow! So that gives you like an 80% slow, well, no, it's less than that, like a 75% slow, because they don't just stack additively. Anyway, way off topic. Good for slows in the early game. Core items, there's sort of 2 schools of thought on core items on Lifestealer. The first comes down to your boot choice. Boots of choice pretty much always phase or treads. Phase gives you a lot more chasing potential and damage in the early game, whereas treads gives you more versatility due to tread swapping, as well as attack speed, which synergizes well with rage. Personally, I'm a fan of phase boots. I like building race car nakes, but It's sort of a matter of personal preference. Um, Magic Wand, obviously, TP, Quelling Blade, self-explanatory. Wand gives you survivability and burst stats, TP, clearly, and Quelling Blade lets you farm better. Then there's sort of Armlet versus Drums. Armlet gives you a lot of damage, but you have to Armlet toggle, and the stats it gives are kind of meh. It also doesn't give move speed, whereas Drums gives you good stats, helps with farming, and, more importantly, helps your team. Personally, I'm a fan of phased drums, but some people like Tread's Armlet, some people like phased Armlet, some people like Tread's Drums, some people like phased Drums Armlet. Pretty much just some combination of those items, and you'll be fine. It's really situational for the game. Like, oh, do you need drums because you're getting bursted? Do you need Armlet so you can just beat the crap out of people, etc., etc.? Moving into that, S and Y is honestly fairly core because it gives you good chasing potential, which is something Lifestealer lacks. He's extremely kiteable as a carry, which is why personally I like to go the race car build with phase drums S and Y, but personal preference. Gives you move speed, good chaseability, and good stats. AC is generally also a good pickup because your armor is really bad, and you sort of need armor so you don't just get blown up instantly while you're raging. Attack speed is also clearly very good. Basher into Abyssal gives you reliable disable, as well as synergizes with your high attack speed from Rage. Desolator is kind of decent a lifesteal actually, because your lifesteal from Feast and or Open Wounds isn't a unique attack modifier, so it can actually stack with Desolator. So, and you output ridiculous amounts of physical damage. So, Deso can be an option. Personally, I tend to stray away from it. I kind of like Scotty on Lifestealer, but whatever. Deso's good damage choice versus like low armor heroes, like say like a Sky Wrath or something, so you can just blow them up instantly, like two-shot them. Blink Dagger's good because it helps with your kiting issue. It allows you to just blink. You can like blink, rage, open wounds, and you can pretty much kill somebody on the duration of that. So that's good for more of a ganking build. Also, I guess a decent farming item. BKB. You really don't want to have to buy a BKB on Lifestealer. Like, you have a built-in BKB. That's like the strength of your hero. So, tend to stay away from that, but if you are getting like silenced a bunch or something, then sometimes it's necessary, or if you just need like ridiculous amounts of magical immunity, then I guess BKB is an option. Mjolnir helps you farm. Obviously, the lightning shield is good on you because you want to not be focused while you're raged, so you can just kill people and get out. Heaven's Halberd, good anti-carry item. Also gives you evasion as a strength carry. Midas can be picked up in the early game if you're farming well, and is a very good item on Lifestealer due to his kind of need for experience, as well as his kind of meh farming. Scotty's good because it helps with being kited, also gives you good stats because your stat growth is sort of bad. MKB, obviously, versus evasion heroes and or natural butterfly carriers. Battle Fury can be picked up. It solves your farming issue, and in 6.84 they added that feast damage, your second skill, your passive, can be cleaved and crit from now. So I guess you could get a crit, but you kind of don't really need damage items on Lifestealer. But moving past that, so you can cleave from feast, which is sort of your main source of damage. So it's decent now for farming. It also gives you good regen, and the damage is good too. Anything else? Butterfly, I guess, could be picked up. sometimes. That's still decent on even strength carries. The attack speed is still helpful, and the evasion, of course, is useful. Maybe a Manta if you're getting silenced, like, a whole bunch, because silences are sort of the bane of Lifestealer, because that means you can't rage. So, maybe a Manta to dispel silences. I don't know, Solar Crest, maybe, if you're just trolling. Then, yeah, you don't really want to get Ags if you're playing a traditional hard carry. Skill build. Normally you want to get open wounds at level 1. Even though the range sucks ass, it's still sort of your kill potential in lane skill. So, generally want to get that at level 1. Normally want to get Feast at level 2 because it provides in-lane sustain as well as good damage in early fights. Although sometimes you could opt for a level in Rage over it, because if you were against a high magic damage lane. Beyond that, you want to level Open Wounds to level 2, because at level 2 the cast range is 300, which is actually reasonable. So, and the cooldown's 20 seconds. Mana cost doesn't scale at all, but yeah, you want to generally get 2 points in Open Wounds. After that, you want to max Rage, normally, by level 8. Because Rage, not only does the attack speed bonus go up, but the duration also goes up, which gives you... Rage is sort of your bread and butter skill, you know? After that, you want to max Feast, because that's going to give you more right-clicking damage. Also helps you farm, I guess. Then you want to finish out Open Wounds and obviously get Infest when you can, because that helps you stay escapable. Skill build on Lifestealer is fairly situational. This is sort of a standard-ish build, but sometimes you can, say, max Open Wounds first if you wanted to, like, get kills a lot in lane, or if you were not farming as much. Sometimes you don't need as many levels in Rage if they don't have any magic damage. Sometimes you need more in Feast if they have, like, really high HP heroes, like a Centaur, for example. Because Lifestealer, it's based on a percent of their current HP, so high HP heroes you're good against. That's sort of another reason why he's out of the meta right now, is strength carries aren't meta, and Lifestealer's sort of a strength carry that's sort of a anti-strength carry hero, similar to, like, Timbersaw. But, and those clearly aren't meta right now. But, anyway. So yeah, that's Lifestealer. Generally your combos, you want to Open Wound somebody, Rage, beat the crap out of them, then leave while your spells are on cooldown. You gotta remember that you're very strong in lane, with a setup into Open Wounds is almost a guaranteed kill. Also remember to use Infest both offensively and defensively. You can use it to escape at a fight, or to infest a highly mobile hero. Good counters to Lifestealer are silences, so you can't rage, and that kind of forces you to either buy Manta or BKB, neither of which you really want to buy on Lifestealer. So, that's nice, I guess. Also, heroes that can escape your Open Wounds, since Open Wounds actually doesn't deal any damage. So, any kind of Blink hero, or any kind of mobile hero like Marana, Weaver, Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit's actually excellent versus Lifestealer, because he can kite you, he has high burst damage, and he's a natural Orchid carrier. Here's what to pick with Lifestealer are, coincidentally, Storm Spirit, because of his high mobility. He can make easy infest bombs. You want to pick Lifestealer against, like, high HP strength heroes and into high magic damage lineups that don't have any physical damage, because you get wrecked by physical damage. You also output a crap ton of physical damage, but you get wrecked by it, which is why you need, because your armor is shit, and your HP pool actually isn't that great. You only have 2.4 strength gain, you have 1 starting armor. Pretty meh. But, yeah, that's Lifestealer. He's out of the meta right now, but he's still playable, and I think he's a fun hero. So, yeah. Peace. This is a guide to Legion Commander as a safe lane carry. Legion Commander is normally played in the offlane role due to her ability to survive and her sort of not really carry-esque elements, but she can still work as both a safe lane or mid. Don't play jungling Legion Commander. Don't farm a 30-minute Midas. Just don't do it, man. Swear to God. Reported. Legion Commander. She is strong versus, heroes that are highly escapable, that don't like long lockdown, due to Duel's ability as a lockdown. That's sort of where her use as an offlane comes in, whereas as a carry you sort of need to snowball a little bit more using Duel, but good versus heroes like Storm Spirit, Anti-Mage, etc. She's played kinda in this metagame. She's sort of weak versus all the magic bursts, because you don't really want to buy a BKB, and all the magic damage kind of force you to buy a BKB, and that kind of sucks. But, I mean, she's playable. As a safe lane carry, your items pretty much always want to get Stout Shield, obviously melee carry, Tangos, regen. You want to grab a Ring of Protection, because your armor's decent, but not super high, and Basilius is actually pretty good on her, because it allows you to spam overwhelming odds, and that gives you pretty much infinite sustain in lane. And then obviously branches to fill in, and salve to, if you're against a hard lane. Your early game items want to include the likes of Brown Boots, for obvious reasons, Magic Stick, again obvious reasons, Basilius, just talked about that, and a bottle. Excuse me. Bottle is good on Legion Commander because it allows you to keep your health and mana up, as well as you tend to not just kind of AFK farm as much as some other heroes, so you tend to be more active on the map, which means you get more runes. Mostly you get it because you need a means of mana sustain outside of just a Basilius and tread swapping. Items of choice, core items. Boots of choice, pretty much always treads. Attack speed synergizes well with Duel, as well as whatever the hell your passive's called. Tread swapping's good because you actually use a crap ton of mana. Yeah, treads. Magic Wand, obviously, is pretty good on every hero. TP and Quelling Blade. Quelling Blade, you're a carry. TP, you're a Dota hero. Then Blink Dagger. Blink Dagger, because Legion plays very similar as a safe lane carry to a Slardar. You don't want to be the only carry on your team. You don't run a 4 Protect 1 strat with Legion Commander. You run dual core or tri-core lineups with a safe lane Legion Commander. As a safe lane Legion Commander, you're generally not even like even the 1 position. You're more of like the 2, maybe the 3 position. You're just put in the safe lane to get a fast blink. Blink allows you to blink duel, which is probably the best initiation of the game. Being able to just blink duel somebody. Yeah, you want to just grab a blink tag, blink duel. Instant 5-second lockdown. That's the shit, man. Situational items. Assault Cuirass. Pretty good. Your armor's mediocre. Attack speed synergizes with duel and whatever. What is your passive called? Moment of Courage. Synergizes with duel and Moment of Courage. Also, the minus armor is good because you do pretty much all physical damage. Abyssal Blade gives you even more lockdown. Also, the bash is helpful during a duel. and it gives good damage. Desolator is kind of on Legion Commander. Gives you good damage, but it doesn't give you like a means to survive during the duel, which is sort of what you're about as a safe lane Legion. Satanic is good because you can pop it during duel to just be better at dueling, I guess. Like, you feel me, you get low, you Satanic up, you win the duel, you get damage. Got it? Armlet's good because you're a strength hero, and Armlet's the second best item on strength heroes for damage, second only to Rapier, as far as cost effectiveness goes. BKB, because oftentimes you don't want to be disabled by the enemy team while you're dueling somebody, and there's some magic damage meta, so you want to be immune to magic. Heaven's Halberd is good because Legion Commander sort of plays like an anti-carry, and Halberd is sort of the anti-carry item. It also gives you evasion, which is good. Mjolnir is good because you can apply the lightning shield, what's that called, like static charge? Yeah, static charge to yourself during a duel, and that allows you to reflect even more damage to not only the person dueling, but also to their team. Vlad's is decent, because that gives you more lifesteal and allows you to farm better, and gives you a good pushing aura to push with your team. Sanjin Yasha should kind of be in... I'm actually going to move that to core items on Safe Lane Legion, because you sort of need that as a item that turns you from an offlaner into an actual carry, similar to like a Bristleback. You want that because it gives you good move speed, which you want. It gives you damage, chasing potential. It's just all around a very solid item, and it allows you to farm very well, which Legion's not really the best farm in the game. Blade Mail is good because when you blink duel somebody, they're forced to attack you, and so you can Blade Mail, and so basically they take not only your damage, but also their damage. So clear synergy there. And then Midas, because Legion is kind of a math armor, and you sort of need a way to farm. Ability build. Generally you want to grab, press the attack at level 1, because the regen and attack speed is good for like rune fights and stuff, although really it doesn't matter what skill you grab level 1, they're all kind of bad at level 1. I don't know, Moment of Courage is decent as like a value point, but not as like your level 1 ability. Anyway, you want to max Overwhelming Odds, or not Overwhelming, yeah, Overwhelming Odds, I was right, damn. Overwhelming Odds early because that's your nuke, and you generally max your nukes first on heroes, like all heroes. The jungling Mongoloid build is to max your other two abilities first, which means basically you've made this skill useless, because by the time you level it, it doesn't really do that much damage anymore compared to a hero's health pool, so you kind of want to make use of it while you can. That's not to say you shouldn't use it in the late game, but you shouldn't focus on it in the late game. Value point in each of your other skills, get duel at 6. Try to get a duel win as soon as you turn 6 with like your lane mates. Doesn't matter if you just duel right as it's about to die, as long as you get the bonus damage, get that snowball rolling. That's what you want. You want to max press the attack after Overwhelming Odds, because you want the higher HP regen and attack speed to help kill people in duel, and your attack speed and the enemy's attack speed isn't good enough yet to really proc Moment of Courage that much, and so it's not really worth leveling over press the attack. Obviously you want to level it out at some point, level your when you can, and stats. That's basically it. Legion Commander, like I said, strong versus highly mobile heroes, weak versus basically like teams that can disable her and kill her while she's trying to duel somebody. Also weak versus like heavy team fight teams, because she's not really a team fight hero. She's more of a solo slash duo pick-off hero that eventually can team fight decently. So heavy push lineups are also good, because you sort of need at least a few items to be able to do stuff. Yeah, that's Legion Commander. She's not really the best carry, but she works. She's got mass stat gains, pretty fast, level 1, 320 is good. Solid base damage. Good hero, I guess. Yeah, that's Legion Commander. Go duel people. You totally don't have a dick as a girl. There's a bulge. Actually, there is a bulge. I'm not even joking. Anyway, Legion Commander. Bye. Hello. This is a guide to Bloodseeker as a safe lane carry. Bloodseeker is one of the most powerful heroes in the metagame right now because of his incredibly strong laning phase and his ability to transition his strong laning into kills around the map as well as strong team fighting. For starting items, you generally want to start with a stout shield, some form of regen, even though you have regen in the form of your casting your Q ability on yourself. Additionally, buying a stout or a full poor man's shield is oftentimes recommended. You can buy a poor man's shield and tangos, and that helps you from right-click harass. That's especially good versus dual lanes that you see a lot in low-level pubs. Also, you could grab maybe a Ring of Protection, because Aquila is fairly strong. Mango is good for just general regen and clarity, obviously. But your sort of standard build is poor man's Tango. In the early game, of course, Boots of Speed, Magic Stick, TP, Quelling Blade, obviously, because you're farming, but Quelling Blade is especially strong to pick up very early on Bloodseeker, because your Q already buffs your damage so much that then having a Quelling Blade on top of it means you hit for like 120 versus creeps at like 3 minutes into the game, so it's impossible to deny you. After that, you generally want to get a Midas, because Bloodseeker actually isn't that great at just farming creeps, so having a Midas is helpful to speed up his experience gain as well as slightly his gold gain. The attack speed's helpful as well. Boots of choice pretty much always treads. Till late game, obviously you get bots, but treads, because you really want attack speed. Phase, you're already fast, and then arcanes and tranquils don't really make much sense. Oops. Bottle can sometimes be picked up for mana regen. You don't really need health regen on Bloodseeker, but bottle's good for sustain. Also, maybe if you went mid, grabbing the bottle's good. Yule's is good. Okay, basically these three items here. These are, you're gonna pick probably 1 to 2 of these to be your actual core items. You want to get Yule's is good as a setup for your silence, what's called Bloodright, and also as a way to cancel TPs pre-basher. Blade Mail is good if they have heavy magic nukers and or heavy damage dealers, and you just want to be able to reflect damage back and just kind of run in and go ham. S&Y is really good because it gives you the health and survivability that you're kind of lacking, as well as damage and percentage move speed, which stacks on top of your thirst, so you're really speedy. Also, the maim chance is really good for chasing. You want to grab Yule's when they have natural escapes, I guess, like a Storm Spirit or something, where you need the guaranteed silence, and the stun is good as well. It's also good for mana regen. You want Blade Mail versus heavy nukers and AoE damage, like Leshrac, or any other AoE, and S&Y, pretty much want S&Y most every game. Situational items, Abyssal Blade, top of the list. You want Basher, gives you a way to cancel TPs so people can't just TP away from you. Also gives you good damage, reliable lockdown, etc., etc. AC is good because your armor is kind of it's okay, but sometimes you need more. Attack speed's also helpful. Blink Dagger if you need to like get on top of somebody, if you have like Blink Abyssal or something. Strong, not the best. Situational. Dagon's good if you need to burst people because you can cast your Q both on yourself and on your target, and it amplifies the Dagon damage by like a bazillion%. BKB should kind of really be core. You really need BKB, especially in this metagame with heavy magic nukers being prevalent. Also, if you get stunned or silenced or anything, you're pretty much just dead. So, having a BKB is helpful. It also gives you some tank ability. Mjolnir is good. Gives you AoE, allows you to farm, good attack speed, and the shield. Most importantly, it's really good on Bloodseeker, especially if you have Blade Mail, because you can Blade Mail, put the shield on yourself, and then enemies don't want to attack you, but they can't really afford to ignore you. So, gives you an advantage in fights. Satanic is good if you're having trouble not really being bursted down, but if you're not being stunned and you're being either bursted or if you're being killed slowly, I guess, Satanic is good. You don't really need the lifesteal, it's entirely for the Unholy Rage active. Moonshard, obviously good in the late game. The bonus Night Vision is also excellent as your heavy ganking hero. Silver Edge, obviously for ganking purposes. Also, I guess, gives you an escape, although if the enemy team isn't Mongoloids, then not really an escape, but, you know, whatever. And then Butterfly, of course, you're an agility carry, obviously. I don't know, MKB, I guess, should be in here, too, for situational, because damn butterfly carriers anyway. Look at this. Manta, I guess you could get if you're being silenced. And then Scotty you don't really need, even though it seems kind of like an obvious choice. But, your mana struggle kind of goes away in the late game, so you don't really need the mana. You're already fairly tanky. And you really don't need the chasing power because you're already an excellent chaser. Ability build. Pretty much always want to get Blood Rage at level 1 because that allows you to last hit easily. It gives you good regen for the lane. You do need to be wary of casting on yourself, however, because the extra damage amp can get you killed. Probably get Thirst at 3. I don't know. These two levels of Thirst and Blood Rage are sort of swappable. But definitely max out Thirst by 7. That's your main, not only damage source, it's also kind of your signature skill, I suppose you could say. Gives you strong damage, especially in early lane scenarios. If they get below, then you can just sort of run them down, which is sort of broken, honestly. Should probably scale better, but, you know, whatever. Always get Rupture when you can. Clearly, it's like a 12-second disable at level 1. Yep, 12-second disable. Jesus. Then some people like to get an early level of the Silence, maybe at like 4 or something, in lieu of the second Blood Rage level. The second Blood Rage level, however, does give you 100% uptime on Blood Rage, which is excellent for farming. So you can sort of tend to skip it because you don't really want to be team fighting before you're at least level 8. But I suppose you could do that. Max that second because the last 2 levels of Blood Rage aren't really that great. Yeah, Blood Rage you want to use in fights, obviously. Try to set it up where you can either use it to zone, or you can set it where enemies want to walk to control an area, or where they have to, like, retreat. Very strong control ability. Then obviously stats. That's pretty much the build. Pretty low base move speed, but obviously you have Thirst. Well, Aquila should be in here somewhere, because that is situational. You can grab that in the early game. Some people, you can go like Tango, Stout, Ring of Protection to build into an early Aquila, because Aquila gives you a lot of damage in the early laning phase, which is where you want damage. As Bloodseeker, you want to just be able to run down your lane and kill them as often as you can. Heroes Bloodseeker is strong against, most notably is Slark, because Slark, if he's farming the jungle and drops down below, then he can't regen, so it impacts his farming speed in a fight. If he normally as Slark, you want to like duck out of the fight, regen up, and then come back in. You can't do that if Bloodseeker can see you from Thirst. Rupture just totally owns him, because Slark, you want to be super mobile, so obviously Rupture impacts that. Other heroes, Huskar, obviously. If you're low as Huskar, then you're just going to buff the fuck out of Bloodseeker and just going to murder you. Let me see. Heroes that are good versus Bloodseeker, most notably is Storm Spirit, because he can still retain his mobility well ruptured using Ball Lightning. Also, you can easily just Ball Lightning out of your silence. And casting Blood Rage on yourself makes it easier for him to just burst you on the duration of pull, and or his Orchid. That's about it for Bloodseeker. Strong hero, run him safe lane or mid. Probably stronger as a safe laner. You can also jungle him. Yeah, you can jungle him. Early in the game, you can transition into the jungle, like after you, like, say, farm your Midas, and give the lane to your supports to farm, if you're coordinated enough to do that or whatever. But yeah, that's it. That's Bloodseeker in a nutshell. Should probably pick him because he's broken his shit. See ya.